Hi, my name is Ginny, and this is Bisaya in America. So I'm trying out this app by Spreaker, and it's kind of hard to work on this app because I'm still learning the ropes. But the topic today would be about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. And sorry about if you can hear my dog whimpering. He likes to eat food all the time, so he wants food right now. And I mean, although I feed him, he's hungry all the time. Anyway, so the topic for today for Bisaya in America podcast is the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. So I have been following the trial since maybe late 2019, early 2020, before the pandemic. So it just flew under the radar. And at that time, I think even before that, I think Amber Heard threw allegations that she was physically abused by Johnny Depp. And she had evidence, although we now know that they were heavily edited and there was really no context to those videos. And I do remember and recall that she shot a video of him slamming on the cabinet doors, and also she put her he actually scribbled with his fingertip that was severed from his finger, one of his fingertips. I think it was his thumb, probably. I think it was his thumb or index finger. Anyway, the tip got severed, and he painted his house with it. He scribbled with it and he wrote with it, and that was pretty graphic. But the context at that time was that he was abusive and he was threatening Amber Heard. But now we know that what happened actually was that Amber Heard threw a bottle at his hand and severed the tip of his finger. So now we know the context. So context really is important. So right now, people are really bummed out. Maybe not half. I think more than half are for Team Johnny Depp, only because Amber Heard has proven that through cross-examination that her testimony isn't really credible, and she keeps on changing. She was not credible. Her story was very it didn't seem like it was real, it seemed like it was fabricated, and it was all over the place. I mean, because I have met a person, personally, I worked with this person, and who was really physically abused for over 20 years. And the reason why this person was able to get out of that relationship was because the spouse died. So anyway, she told me about the abuse and how it happened, and how she was tortured, and how she was injured, and she was almost killed, and how she suffered a brain injury. And the way she talked about it indicated that it was real, because first, it was consistent. She was telling the same story, and it was pretty consistent. It was a conversation, and it really came from personal history, and it was corroborated by family members, and it was corroborated by, of course, physical injury as well. But we know that that's not the case in Amber Heard's testimony. So she keeps changing her story, and then it gets more elaborate, and it just gets it was she was talking about being physically abused, and and sexually abused, but the way she described it was, it didn't seem like it was real, because she would change her tenses, like from the past tense to the, like that, just something about her wording was off. It didn't seem natural. It seemed like it really was fabricated, because like I could tell you a true story in so many different ways, but I would not change the tense. Like it would remain in the past tense, and it would be like, the way I would describe it would be more organic, you know. And the way she described her supposed abuse is that it was just too, like, fantastical, you know. It wasn't real, and of course she couldn't corroborate it. And then there was evidence that she would have a bruise one day and then it would disappear the next, and then she would have a broken nose, and then but her nose doesn't really show that she had a broken nose, because you know when your nose is broken, it's really, really very visible, you know, you can tell. But she doesn't have a deviated septum. It's, you know, unless she has the world's best plastic surgeon that can make a deviated septum disappear overnight, right? So yeah, so she was incredible. And so what she did, although she tried to ride on the Me Too bandwagon, Me Too movement bandwagon, it's such a disservice to the movement, actually, because she used it, you know, for her own benefit, for her own gain. And, you know, and it's so sad, because we all know that women and young girls are being physically abused, emotionally, verbally, and just used, and like in so many ways harassed, sexually harassed, belittled. And that happens every day in all corners of the globe. For some reason, our society has just, you know, there's no equality between men and women. Of course, in some more civilized societies, maybe there's more equality, but we all know this, like, yeah, but it doesn't mean that the abuser can't be a woman and the abuse can't be a man. So we really have to follow the evidence as well, what can be corroborated, what the evidence is. And I think that Amber Heard's attorneys, they're not very good, because they should have stopped Amber Heard from being on the stand, because her testimony was just all over the place, you know. And then the way she was acting, her demeanor, it was very unnatural. It was very rehearsed. And even if it was rehearsed, it wasn't really good acting, you know, which is kind of sad, because she's an actress, but she is unfortunately just a B-list actress who, you know, latched on to an A-list celebrity. And yeah, and I think like so, but I still do believe that their relationship is toxic, and it cannot be denied that there's like verbal abuse on both sides, and that there's emotional abuse on both sides. But so the question here is if Johnny Depp was a wife beater. So of course the evidence doesn't really show that. And you know, his pattern of behavior as well doesn't really show that. But on the other hand, and I think this is where the ACLU also messed up, is that Amber Heard's pattern as well. I think she had a history of abuse with a former spouse as well. And that's the thing, if you have someone in who's prominent and, you know, trying to shed light on an issue and stuff, make sure that they're properly vetted, that, you look at their background, if you can really trust them. And because unfortunately in this case it backfired because they didn't do their research. There's always a pattern of behaviors. There's always a red flag. And anyway, speaking of red flags, so I was following this Amber Heard thing several years ago, even before this blew up. In fact, I was waiting for the trial, and I'm like, when is the trial already? I'm waiting. And then it got delayed by, of course, the pandemic. And so there were leaks already, and I already knew about it. But I was Team Amber Heard at the beginning when, she showed evidence like, she had the videos and she had the receipts, but the context was we didn't know the context of those videos and clips and stuff. We didn't really know it until now, or until it was leaked. And especially the audio that she claimed that she was abusing him. That was pretty damning. But anyway, I started switching to Johnny Depp when I realized that Amber Heard pooped on their marital bed. I was like, yeah, that's a line you cannot cross. Once you start pooping on people's beds, especially your bed, that just crosses the line for me. So I said, oh no, she's batshit crazy. Maybe I'm going to look at the other side. Maybe there's something off about her. So once you cross that line, that's a very big, solid line that you can't cross. Once you cross that line, it's like, okay, that's just unusual and erratic behavior, and that's just crazy. And then so I started looking at it in a different light, and like, you know what, maybe she's not that reliable, and maybe she's not telling the truth, because like pooping on someone's bed, that's crazy. And then so I started like listening and reading about it and just researching, and it was really fun. And I'm glad that it's all now coming to light. But before, I was like, it was drip, drip, drip. I was like, whoa, where's the latest leak? Like, I'm waiting for it. But of course, the pandemic was the main thing. It got bumped from the ratings probably, and bumped down to irrelevant or not so relevant because of the 2020 pandemic. Who can forget that? And then, yeah, but I'm glad that, Johnny Depp, eventually the truth came out. And yeah, I kind of feel bad that at first I believed in Amber Heard, because she did have the receipts, but they were the wrong receipts. And but yeah, it all boils down to the pattern of behavior as well. And unfortunately, no one was vouching for Amber Heard's personality. And I think I listened to a podcast where one of her co-stars told the interviewer that she was still a druggie, in her 20s still, and so she did lie, and that's perjury. So both of them probably are taking different sorts of drugs. Who knows? But it's such a shame because they have all the money and the fame, but still they're both of them, in a way, although Johnny Depp wins in a court of public opinion, he still has his addiction, and Amber Heard has to deal with herself, at the end of the day, she has to look in the mirror, and yeah, so she still has to deal with her issues, whatever her issues are, which probably includes taking cocaine or whatever drug she's on, Both of them are really messed up. And yeah, and there's no real winners because, both of them are just a little kooky and crazy. So, but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that because this will just disappear, and I'm glad it's like a sequel, like like I followed this thing years ago, and I'm glad it's ended because I was just waiting for this for years. I'm like, dude, when is it? When will we know the ending? It's like, Stranger Things. They have like season 4, and then they have volume 1, and then now they have volume 2. So it felt like that. It like took forever. And now I'm really glad that I can put this to rest. I know that how it ended, of course, Johnny Depp winning, good for him, but he still has to take care of himself because he has a drug or alcoholism or whatever he's on, He could be on, who knows what he's on, but he has to deal with that. And Amber Heard has to deal with her lies as well. And of course, having that type of personality, whatever borderline personality disorder, and whatever she has, whatever drug addiction she has. So she has to deal with that as well. So yeah, makes you actually not, makes you feel better. Like it makes some ordinary people feel better about their lives, that we're not celebrities that are dealing with drugs and all those crazy things. And thank you very much for listening. And I'll try this thing. Right. Okay, so I don't know what that was for. I just clicked on something. And thank you for listening to Bisaya in America. And that's my dog in the background. And don't mind him. Thank you.